We record meetings and they are posted on our site on the previous meetings page. And you can either watch the full meeting or just the talks. Just to review, if you want to see everyone in the meeting, click on the people. Chat, we use chat a lot. In fact, if you will be showing something, can you please type the word show in the chat right now? And I will call on you in order that they show up in the chat for me when we get to show and tell. And if you want to pin the presentation when our speaker is presenting, just to make it bigger on your screen, use the pin, and then you can click it again to unpin it. Don't need to share your screen, turn your camera on and off, mic on and off, and underneath the lovely three buttons, three dots, the three-dot menu, you'll see lots of other settings. You can blur your background, you can change your background, you can change the layout. Interesting things in there. So reminder that our sister site has lots of great content there. What is new since last time is there's a new basics article that David Kuntz was so gracious to write and provide. So please go check that out. And usually whoever is presenting, if they're into stereophotography, there will be gallery pictures there. And there's a support team if you need help getting started with your stereophotography. You want to present, sign up. We have openings starting in March. So I think we're booked through February. And today we'll be having Roberto Manzano sharing how the worlds of sculpture and stereoscopy have come together for him. I skipped over, I usually have a slide that's talking about what's next. And we may be skipping the next meeting. We're still talking about that. That's December 27th. And so it's 2 days after Christmas. And if you, we'll do a poll later just to see if you would be attending that. So we know whether we should just skip that one and reconvene in January. All right. So I'm making my intro short so that we can just go ahead and get started. All right. So Roberto, over to you. If you have anaglyph glasses, you guys may want to grab those while he's setting up.
I hope not to be very boring because my pronunciation is really ugly, maybe. But I have with me together my son that is really he really speak very good and he can help me sometimes.
Hello.
Hello. I'm going to start now.
Yep, you can go ahead and just present your screen the way as we did earlier, and then start it.
My name is Roberto Manzano. I'm a sculptor by profession, and I have been using stereoscopic photography as an audiovisual medium for 6 years only. I'm very happy to have this opportunity to show and share my love of the three-dimensional images through some of my sculptures. the images. In this way, I want to show that I use this medium not only out of curiosity, but also as very useful tool in the current processes of sculpture. For this, I have selected 6 pieces that present a small part of my work. Mm, It is the most figurative facet of my work. In this first sample of images, I've isolated the sculpture from the background, motivated by a conversation I had with Pascal Martinet, a stereographer that many you already know. He showed some of stereoscopic daguerreotypes by Lemaire on sculptures by Jane Pradier, and we decided to try to imitate the way of presenting the sculptures, isolating the figures and darkening the background. In this way, a very clean image remains, focusing attention of the sculptural motif. In this way, we pay a small tribute to these visionary photographers who show us that in concept they have more than 150 years of advances, since today humanity has not yet managed to implement stereography as a visual standard. I'm going to speak to the first sculpture. Puedes poner la otra. Este. Yes. Yes. No. This. Stremophile, the title. Stremophilo is a 60 centimeters bronze sculpture tall. It's found some private collections. They present a girl in an unnatural, purely exhibitionist position, intent only to attract attention. The accessories are also absurd, only justified by the intention of the enhancing the figure of your body on display. The intention is not to criticize the absurdity of the intention shown by the girl with her posture, rather to show one more facet of the human being that pushes to pushes me to pigeonhole with as a being with extremophilic capacities. Now, vamos a cambiar. ¿Lo paso? Si tienes que publicar ese. No, pero publicar. Tienes que cerrar ese y abrirlo ahora. ¿Cuál? Este. Ah, pero no he pasado todas las fotos. Da igual. I'm going to put the pictures. Yes. This. La de atrás. Sí. Yeah. Okay. This sculpture is made in white Carrara marble sculpture.
We lost your Roberto. We lost your presentation. Can you share again?
Where is the picture? Yes.
Present now.
Now. No. Yes. No. Maybe. No, se está cargando. Okay. Can you see something?
Not yet. If you click present now and then
Now,
share.
can you please? I'm showing now in my computer. Está todo paralizado.
It seems to have, it seems that it stopped sharing. So if you, on your side, maybe you can click stop presenting and then start again.
Venga, pues.
It's okay, we
A
have
ver.
time.
Yes.
Perfect.
A ver, dale a presentar otra vez. ¿Y dónde está? Entonces, ampliado. No se ve. Pues algo que no se ve nada. Dale a esto. No, ese no es. ¿Es aquí? Sí. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. And
Okay.
it looks like you're presenting, but I don't see the pictures yet.
Wait a moment. Wait a moment, please. Sí, no, es simplemente que tarda un montón. It's a little slowly.
Okay.
No sé por qué la pendiente.
Kita and Roberto, if it doesn't work, I have the pictures as well, so I could share them probably if that would help.
Dice que las tiene descargadas las imágenes si no va bien. But now. No, no está ahora mismo, tienes que darlo. Dejarle presentar.
Do you try sharing a window instead?
Now I'm presenting the pictures.
Okay, perfect. We can see now.
At first, it started as commission to make a stand for a table. The only condition was that the main motif had to be a female figure. The first sketches result in this position, and it was ruled out that it served as a support of a table. The posture made sense on its own. Balance present an ideal state between the mind and the body, a kind of pleasant connection that thoughts transfer to the body, and the mind consequently receives the result of the stimuli from the body. In this piece, I felt very comfortable with the type of marble science in offered me the possibility of presenting the anatomical details that I consider very necessary to give life to the human figures. I also want the material in which it's made to be evident and that there was contrasts between the soft leather and the raw stone. Vale. The next. The game. Now. ¿Dónde está el nombre? Por ahí. Sí. Déjate. Es que si no se va a apagar. Ah. Sorry. No. Sorry, one moment. No. Ok, espérate, entonces empiezo desde... ¿Es esto, no? Yes. Okay, this sculpture,
I think
we now can
Ro-
see something.
no, I think you keep stopping the presentation.
Yes.
Maybe.
We
have technical difficulties.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Sorry.
Okay. Here we go. Yep, can see it fine.
This sculpture is 2 meters high. It's carved from a single block of marble. The scene represents a girl and a boy playing. The intention is to represent a power game in which it's one use different strategies to try to achieve their goal. The child who is below plays with a doll that is a soldier, representing the power of force, and the chest that represents the power of money. The protects it under his knee, the girl given a doll. The development of the game consists on the girl trying to get part of the power that the boy has. To do this, the girl is snatching one of the keys that the boy has in his possession, taking advantage of the fact that he distracted trying to recover his doll. The child doesn't not use through strategy. He only becomes enraged and um, tries to achieve his goal by force. The girl is interested in economic power, so she focuses on getting one of the 2 keys that open the chest that the boy has in his power. He has, through of a strategy, feels confident with her plan and is more elegant as she's uh, sees she's how her plan begins to pay off. In short, the boy, confident in his strength, believes that he can recover his own without problems, while the girl has have to draw up a plan. Since she could not face the boys using her weapons. This sculpture was one of the first work that I made when I had the opportunity to buy a block of marble. For me, it was a complicated technical challenge, a test to demonstrate to myself how far I could go when transferring the model of a sculpture with complex shapes to a block of marble without making gross mistakes. The sculpture is one of my first works. Made 20 years ago, I still have it in my workshop. So now I'm going to show one sculpture group that now I work in this moment. Okay. Uh, this sculpture is part of the sculptural group that forms.
Roberto. Oh, nope, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
This sculpture is part of the sculptural group that forms the cover of the Hotel Maravilla Palace in Sepona, Malaga, in Spain. The group is made up of two governments, fishing and agriculture, and a central shield with the hotel's logo. The figures are life-size, made of cream-colored limestone, with which is the same stone used in the rest of the building. Currently, I am still working on this sculptural rail. In the final phase of the um, finishing, I found it interesting to show photos of the process, since it's the most unknown aspect of the stone sculpture. The goddess of fishing has a representative attributes, an anchor, uh, headdress with typical sailor's braids and squids that seem to attend to the gestures that she makes with her hands. The position is very sedentary, looking down to meet her when people look up when they are in front of the front door. Mm. Now this is now finished the process. No, ya la puedes pasar.
No sé por qué lo veo ahí.
And this now
Block.
yes the central block now is finished also. It's finished.
Ya.
This is a render, the first render of the project. Now the shapes is a little different. Cambio, lo vamos a poner el monumento al pescador. This is the, now I'm going to show the monument to the fisherman. The monument to the fisherman is a 250 high marble sculpture. It's located in Carboneras, a town on the coast of Almeria in Spain. It presents a fisherman who has just caught a swordfish. He's leaning on a fishing net and gazing out at the sea, aware that the kind of battle he just fought has ended. In that difficult scenario in which he has to face every day. Swordfish is one of the typical products of the fishing in this town. Final,
¿Es el final?
para
¿No?
sí. This
Apaga. Es que no puedo darle, ¿no?
Okay. This slightly larger than life size sculpture presents a portrait of a woman in a tribute to a person who loves himself. The pose is idealized while the face responds to reality. In this piece, the position does not have a very exhibitionist spirit, rather relaxed and natural without looking for anything expressive beyond the simple fact of being aware of being naked. The position of the hands and the treatment of the hair is what I have enjoyed the most about the sculpture.
Robert,
Yes,
we're actually seeing the slab of marble. We're not seeing a sculpture.
Yeah, it's just the whole process.
Oh, got it. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Hasta que no aparecía lo que...
Okay, I wasn't sure if we were on the right picture. You're fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still doing the finishing of the sculpture. The finishing of the sculpture. I continues in my workshop. In some images, I have wanted to visually show where the sculpture is located inside the marble block before starting to carve it. To do this, I use one of the possibilities that photography offers, which is photogrammetry. It is nothing more than the ability of the stereoscopy to understand depth, guided by a computer program. This allows me to get a polygonal model of the marble block pressed from the quarry. Once digitized, I manipulate it in a three-dimensional environment, taking into account the scale inside the computer. Here, I can combine it with the also digitized model of the sculpture to place it exactly where it suits me best within the block of marble. What is interesting is the possibility of showing the result in the stereoscopic images, playing with the transparencies and other elements to understand the three-dimensional environment in which the sculpture is located in relation to the block of marble. Vale, ahora podemos poner. Sí. Yes. Now I'm going to put the video during I talk. Since I'm aware of the potential Since I am aware of the potential stereoscopic photography, I cannot help documenting the entire process of developing the sculpture in the workshop. Those photos that years ago have been taken in 2 dimensions are already a distant past. Now, with the pairs of photos, everything makes sense when incorporating the depth. Since then, so to speak, if I manage to transfer part of the sensation that is perceived when I am in front of the sculpture outside the workshop. It is a necessity to be able to understand the space from every point of view from which a sculpture is observed, and the environment that surrounds it. Without deep perception, the sculpture loses meaning. It becomes a graphic scheme. It loses a large part of the truth. Although, although all this is applicable to photography in general. During the process of making the sculpture in the workshop, I like to capture the work's environment through the photographs. I also usually photograph the different stages of the development of the pieces. In addition to these stereoscopic photos, I also take the opportunity to scan the sculpture, obtain virtual molds of those early stages of development, and that if I didn't, they would disappear forever. This, in turn, allows me to create a history of sculpture and visualize the entire creative process in a very enveloping way with these digital files. I can generate an infinity of three-dimensional graphics material, which greatly expands the possibilities on the world of sculpture as it was known until recently, transcending from the physical to the visual. Of a sculpture, I usually keep 5 or 6 different models of the process. I can superimpose this to visualize the formal changes to which a species has been transformed until the final finish. The video animation that I have prepared is an example of the possibilities offered by the digitization of shapes. In this case, the first I think I did was model the sculpture. Traditionally, this was done with clay or plasticine. Now I can also model virtually. Once the sketch or model is finished, I can find the marble block that fits the shapes. Once a stone block is located, I digitize it, and in a virtual environment on the computer, I manipulate it into place the sculpture model inside the block, and pass study where it will be located. This allows me to work anywhere without having to be in the workshops in front of the marble block. Do not forget that this entire process can be viewed stereoscopically, and as is already a great pleasure. The, the effort is justified. In this case, the marble block is such larger than the final sculpture, which has allowed me to find a place in the ideal marble avoiding areas with darker uh, details to get a material as white possibility does not distract the shapes. One, when the model is located, I can trace with great precision where the first cuts must be made to eliminate a large amount of excess stone. To trace these cuts, I take the computer with me and, and place it next to the stone to transfer measurements as can be seen in one of the images. I have also included a photo that shows the result of the first cut with the shawl. After some more cutting, I already obtained what would be the true volume of stone that the sculpture contains, and the process of carving in the marble begins. Okay, uh, maybe it's the finish.
Oh, that, yeah, definitely applause. I see you applauding, David. I just want to applaud as well.
Thank you at all for hearing me.
Um, Thank you so much for sharing that. That is brilliant work. I mean, I'm not a sculptor, but yeah, that is just amazing. And just adding the stereoscopic aspect of it, and then the video and showing it inside of the stone. Just wow, that was great. And
Yes.
the detail, just amazing. I am going to stop gushing, talking, because I know I'm going to check for questions in the chat. Oh, so Pascal has put a link in the chat to his to his photos on Stereo site. But yes, let me just open it up. We have about 2 to 3 minutes before we get to show and tell. Let me remind everyone that if you want to show and tell, please type show in the chat. In the meantime, though, any questions for Roberto? Anyone have any questions? Oh, so here's a question. I'm not sure if your son is reading the chat or not, so I'll say it out loud. It's what tech?
Wait a second.
Oh, do you see it?
Where's the chat? Oh, yeah, here.
It's the last one at the bottom.
What technique do you use to make your digital drafts? ¿Qué técnica usas para hacer?
I have 2 or 3 programs like 3D Studio and ZBrush to make the models. Also for photogrammetry, one program for this. Maybe it's enough.
How long did it take you to? ¿Cuánto tiempo te tardaste en acabar la última escultura?
The one natural size in marble, almost 2 or 3 months working.
Is there any more questions? I didn't see.
No, I have one, and I might have seen the answer to this, but I'll ask again. How long have you been taking 3D photos of your work?
¿Cuánto tiempo llevas?
5 years, 5 or 6 years.
Okay, that's right.
Maybe I discover it later. I would like. I remember the film Avatar, but I don't understand nothing the method. Then pass 7 years later, discover it.
How do you?
I'm a younger stellograph.
Still, it's great.
Yes, I like the VR headset. I have one. I suppose is really the more enjoying method to visualize the stereoscopy picture and videos. Yes, for me it's marvelous.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Roberto, for sharing, and yeah, just bearing with my interruptions and the and the technical difficulties.
Yeah, that was our bad.
No, it was fine. Honestly, we're pretty informal here, so we just want to see the work. So it was fine. We love that you came here and shared with us. So all good.
Thank you at all for hearing me, and I hope not very boring for you.
No, not at all. Not at all. Thank you. So while we move on to our next segment, the show and tell, I'll give people a moment. Again, I see the word show. I see, looks like we have about maybe 5 people that will be showing something.
Yeah, Kita?
Yes.
Can you skip over Ian for a minute? Well, put him last, maybe.
I will. Okay.
Right. Yeah, he had to step out.
Okay. But before we do that, I am going to try to launch a poll here. So let's try polling. And I just launched it. So you should see someplace near the chat symbol where there's a triangle and a square and a circle. And there's a poll there. Would you attend a December 27th meeting? Yes, no, maybe. If you guys can go ahead and do that poll. And if more people say yes, it does not necessarily mean that we will do the meeting because I'm still considering the fact that the presenters would have to be preparing over Christmas and, it should be family time. But I'm just curious who would actually attend. So, all right. And thank you. I see the votes coming in on the poll. Let me know if you have trouble finding the poll. It should be up at the top of your screen on mobile. I'm not sure. At the bottom, wherever the chat icon is. There's a really funky looking new icon. That's the poll. All right, so let me return to the chat and see, skipping over Ian, I'm going to do one more count so I know how long to time everybody. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people showing, 5. Okay. All right, I'm going to give people 3 minutes to show your item and talk about it. So let's go with David Starkman first. You are mute. You're on mute, David.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Hear me now?
Yep, you've got 3 minutes.
Okay. Let me turn up the lights a little. Okay. David Kuntz can help me on this one. I thought I'd show what was my last and favorite film 3D camera. I started shooting in 1977 with a Viewmaster Personal, and after a couple of years, went from that to my first stereo realist camera was not a stereo realist; it was a Wallensack. And then in the desire to get a wider, and that took a square picture on 35 millimeter film. I went from that to a Veriscope F40, which takes a 7 perforation wide picture, and then played around with twin cameras. And eventually people started building these custom cameras. This is 2 Ricoh 3R KR10M cameras that have been chopped apart, put back together. This was by RBT in Germany. And the end result, what I loved about this one, I had one before this that was a little more manual. This maintains every function of the original non-3D version of the camera. It's got an LCD display, motorized rewind. It automatically winds 1 and 3 frames to get the right spacing for 2 full frame 3D images. Let me open it up and show the back. So that's 2 full 35 millimeter frames, and that space in between is another full 35 frame. So it moves over 1 frame, then it has to move 3 frames to get to the next pair. But in the end, on film, it looks like 36 pictures from a normal 2D camera. So I could send them off to Kodak, get them mounted, and put them in a viewer that takes 2 separate slides, at least for initial viewing. And this has 28 to 70 millimeter zoom lenses that are coupled. Like I said, automatic film advance when it gets to the end of the roll, motorized rewind, and took great pictures. I shot with this for at least 10 years from about, David Kuntz, can you help me? When did this come out? About 72 or, 92 or 93?
Right. We both got ours at Eastbourne in 93.
Okay. So from 1993 till 2005, this was my main camera. And 2005 was when I sort of switched over to digital. And I still kind of miss this camera because there's things you can do that you just can't do with digital. And the things I miss the most are these. This was called an enhancing filter that Tiffin made, and it's magical. It makes fall colors like reds and browns and bricks redder and greens greener, and doesn't seem to affect other colors. So it really gooses up your photos. I guess now you do it all in Photoshop, but they were great filters, and this would take all the normal things. So that's my show and tell. They called it, was it the RBT X2 was the model number. And there it is on top. And that's my show and tell.
Nice. Thank you, David.
Okay. And happy holidays, everybody.
Hey, you too. Thanks for the cool card that you sent out.
Okay. Maybe I'll send it to Pascal. Maybe you can put it on the site.
Yeah.
or put it on Brooklyn.
All right, Pascal, you're next. Pascal, sorry.
Yes, I wanted to show you something that I found late after midnight, and that's why it's always good before you fall asleep to go through your online searches for your collecting activities. So I'll try to share my screen because the stereoscope is too big to show it here. Let me see. So can you see it already? So this is in parallel view. I hope you can watch it in 3D. So
I'm not seeing it. Is anyone else?
Yes, I can.
I am.
Oh, maybe I have the wrong setting. Sorry.
Okay, so anyway, it was, I think, 1 a.m. when I went to my through my standard searches, and I just found this to to a very good price. And so 5 minutes later, I've bought it, and I think it's quite a nice addition between these other two here, and I just wanted to share that with you. So that was my show and tell.
Gee,
Awesome.
Pascal, that looks very familiar. It's a Matty stereoscope. Matty.
Yes, but the belt is not to exchange. It's fixed.
Very pretty.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm jealous. Jealous of that. It's so beautiful. All right. Next up is Lon.
Oh, yeah. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to show you something, and I set it down. When David Starkman was giving his talk about stereoscopic books, I don't think he mentioned this one, which is Masterpieces in 3D. And it's absolute crap, because what they've done is taken a whole bunch of M.C. Escher drawings, lithographs, etc., and they've converted them to stereo by breaking them up into chunks and putting them on 3 different planes. I do have this stereo viewer card, which folds up as a postcard, and then you can just view it like that. And this is the Escher's Drawing Hands, which is a million times better conversion than the one in the book. So I paid 15 bucks on eBay for this thing, and it pissed me off until I figured out that I could use it as a case for my mom's tablet, which means that she can use it, whoa, to view stereos I take of her cats, just by using the included viewer. And yeah, that's it.
Nice. Thank you. I was wondering when cats would make their first appearance into our meeting. And there we go. Well, so now I guess I know not to get that book, right?
Yeah, I wanted to save everybody a few bucks too.
This has been the first meetings I've been to where there hasn't been cats appearing randomly.
So thank you, Lon, for that. All right. Let me see. Scrolling through.
Can you see this camera?
No. What is that?
It's 2 digital cameras with, and this I built the black things. I built this to can be this possibility. This is my tool, my first tool to take pictures.
Yeah, I've never seen one. I don't know if anyone else on the call has seen one. I'm not very familiar with stereo cameras.
Well, it looks like the Samsung cameras. Dr. T wrote a whole article about putting 2 of these. I forget the model name. It's a Samsung, N1000 or something, and they'll sync pretty easily with just sort of a spliced cable. But he's built a really nice bar to hold them together. But a lot of other people have put those particular cameras together.
Sí, que ha hecho una persona ha escrito un libro con esas cámaras ¿Y qué las has hecho tú?
This support I built this support with I worked 1 month complete to build this.
The bar.
Yeah.
Model camera.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. All right. Next is Anna.
Hello, everyone. So I'm showing a stereo I have taken. Hope you can see it. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, could you make the photo larger on your screen?
Of course I can. So here it is. I'm pretty new in taking stereos, so that's one I'm very proud of. It shows the landscape in the part of Germany where I live. There are lots of dead trees, and yeah, I'm very proud of that because of the fog and the colors. So yeah, just wanted to show that.
Nice. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
That's definitely better than I can do. I keep saying I'm going to start practicing taking photos, and I have not yet started. But thank you for sharing that. Oops, sorry, alarm going off. All right, is Ian back? You sure? Ian? Oh, yes. I guess I just don't see you on this. Oh, there you are.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to put my things back in. Lon, that's the first time we've had a show and tell of a do not buy this item. It was pretty amusing. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you, yeah.
Yep, we can hear you.
So my show and tell item is stereorentgenography, pulmonary tuberculosis. And this is an item that my friend Doug, who some of you knew or have heard of, was going to give me for Christmas last year, but I wound up picking it up at his house later. I figured 'tis the season and all. The idea was pulmonary tuberculosis was something that they were having a great deal of difficulty treating, basically up through the 1960s. And they felt that 3D views of the lungs and thorax might give a better idea. So every detachable page in this has a stereo card that you put into a home's viewer. This one is bismuth injected through the trachees. And if you look at it up close, I don't know, can you see that? It's basically an X-ray machine they developed at Johns Hopkins that could move very quickly and take 2 X-rays in a parallel view format, and they use this to take a look at acute patients and so on, and to diagnose the degree to which the tubercles or spirochetes spread through the pulmonary system, and the best means of treatment for tuberculosis prior to the triple antibiotic combo that was actually developed right out on Staten Island at Seaview Hospital. I've always been interested in medicine, so Doug was going to pass that off to me for Christmas last year. I thought it would be a fun Christmas this year gift. Yes, David, it's very similar to the Edinburgh Stereoscopic Atlas. I have both the first and second edition of that. This is a whole hell of a lot rarer. That's all.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Ian.
Of course.
Anyone else? No one? We've got time. Someone want to grab something that they want to share? I have something. I'll go. I wasn't going to share this, but because it's not ready, and it's. I wanted to share something that I'm thinking of doing. So, I have this my viewer website, and I think several of us have sites and blogs and things like that. But I used to work for a mapping company before I work where I work now. And it's a company in Southern California in Redlands called Esri. And if you've ever looked at maps of disasters or anything like that, you've probably been looking at one of their maps. And it'll say, people think it says ArcGIS at the bottom, but it's ArcGIS. So I used to work there, and they were developing this really cool application called Story Maps, where you could build a storyline and have a map be the sort of help illustrate your story. So anyway, I just by chance went back and decided I wanted to try, let me just share my screen really quickly, to try, and it's not even done, but I just want to show you like what I'm thinking of doing, and anyone who wants to help contribute, and it's probably a month-long project, but I was thinking of doing this, like mapping the 3D viewer evolution. And so what you can do is like on the left-hand side, you can have like a timeline, and you can place things on, that's not actually where Viewmaster was born. That's actually Southern California, not Portland. But I was just playing around with dropping pins on the map. So here's True View for Rock Island, and then Chicago with DeVry. And, I was going to go, so scrolling through the timeline, then go over to just, kind of have this whole story where you can kind of visually see things going on with the map. So just wanted to share that. That's my 3 minutes. And yeah, so instead of just kind of having a timeline that's just text, it would be like this map, and you could, I don't know, there's all sorts of things you could do with something like that. So anyway, that's my show. Anyone else? Someone said they had something. I heard that come up.
David said if there's still time.
Sure. David.
Yeah, I mean, if you have time, I'll pull out one more item.
Yep. I'll give you another 3 minutes on the clock.
Okay, let's pull it out here. 1 second. Okay. About 1.5 miles from where I currently live was a company called Radex. They're still in business, but they've moved to a different location. But we used to buy products from them. A little hold up to the viewer that's still being sold for Stereo Realist. But one of their 1950s products was called the Radex Binocular Scope. This is the box, and this is the viewer. And they called it the binocular scope because it sort of looks like binoculars. And you'll notice 2 35 millimeter slides, and these are in a metal frame that they made that you would, have a right and a left. And how did you get the right and the left? Well, I guess you could have used 2 cameras, but they also made something called a stereo parallel. And here's the box. Oh, I'll show it again. And you've all probably seen something of this type. Let's pull it out here. This is the parallel. I'm unscrewing this part here. So this is what they called their stereo parallel. And you would mount this on you would mount this on a tripod. It has a tripod hole in the bottom. And then this would go here and into your camera, which you would mount on top right here. And once your camera's mounted on that and you're on the tripod, you would take your left picture or your right picture and then flip it over. And it would move over about 2.5 inches to get your right and left in a pretty quick succession. And then after you got your mounted by Kodak slides back. You'd slip them into the frame, put them into the viewer, and that was their system. So that's my show and tell.
Nice. I have that viewer, but I've never seen that.
The stereo parallel?
No, that's cool.
Oh, well, I'll give you an email later about it.
Okay. All right, cool. Thanks. I just one last thing I wanted to just share to go along with what I was sharing. I'll drop the link in the chat. But if you ever want to look at story maps and get ideas, because mine was a really ugly version of what can be done, there are people doing really awesome story maps, and you can go by topic, look for editors' picks, arts and culture, travel and recreation, nature and environment. You can learn about how to build your own story map. So they're really beautiful ones. So don't let what you saw of mine be like, oh my God, that's going to be horrible. I hope that it'll actually be something beautiful that we can actually get put into this gallery and introduce people to the world of 3D. So just to add on. So I'll drop that in the chat here. All right. Anyone else? If let me check on the poll here. How are we doing in the poll? 7 yes, 5 maybe. Okay. We might just be reconvening in January. All right. If we can end early. If no one's got anything, we can give everyone 20 minutes back. All right. Let's just do that then. Thank you all for joining, and we will see you all. Check the blog posts and Instagram to see if we'll be having a meeting. But my guess is it might be the first week of January. So everyone have a great holiday time. Be safe. Stay healthy.
Happy
Bye.
holidays.